the mastermind sessions? Awesome. And up next, we've got a discussion about something that we believe, and I know you believe as well, that it's something very, very important with how quickly things are moving, and that is technology. But before I tell you about that, something I don't have to worry about is getting my hairstyle. And upstairs, for free, you can head up to Ruby Assembly and get your hair done in 3 different styles. So make sure you head there before the gala dinner tonight, get your hair all zhuzhed up, ready to go. There's also LinkedIn photos as well for free, so if you need to get your new headshot done for LinkedIn, that would be awesome. Well, I'm going to invite 4 people up that are really doing something pretty cool in the tech space. And I want to start by welcoming up Luke Campbell from VXT. And I do have an important question for you, so come on up before I introduce the rest of the people. You can take the second seat there. Actually, take the end seat right over there. VXT, I've got to see and hear about it a bit firsthand, because Caroline now uses it in your firm, correct? Amazing tech, just something very, very cool for lawyers to use in their firms. But the most important question is, we got to meet Sophie, who works for Luke, before we knew anything about VXT, and she had this tattoo. We're like, oh, what's that about? And it had VXT on it. And can you just tell us quickly a little bit about the tattoo and what she gets in return for having that tattoo?
Yeah, so...
Should be on.
Yeah, so last year I got a tattoo of my company's logo on my arm, and it's right here. And I was joking with the rest of my team that, hey, you know, maybe if you get a tattoo as well to match, I'll give you some shares. And everyone at VXT has equity in the business. And people are pretty keen, so I offered them 10,000 shares. And yeah, now like a third of our team have VXT tattooed on their arm.
So, next to when you get your hair done upstairs, if you want a tattoo, come and see Luke. If you want some shares in VXT. So Luke actually originates from New Zealand as well, and he's the co-founder and CEO of the legal tech company VXT, the only phone system built specifically for law firms. VXT connects to your practice management system, like Clio, Leap, Smokeball, or ActionStep, to automatically save call transfers using AI-generated summaries and file notes directly to the matter. I know that Caroline speaks firsthand, that's amazing. So make sure you have a chat to Luke, he's upstairs. But he is very innovative, and I'm excited to have you on the panel today. I think people are going to learn a lot. So let's welcome Luke. Next, I would like to invite Fiona McClay up. It's awesome having you here, Fiona. Fiona is the founder of McClay Legal Consulting. Is a trusted expert in the world of legal technology. With a passion for helping lawyers make their firms more profitable and enjoyable places to work, she brings 25 years of experience as a dispute resolution lawyer to her work as a legal tech. Fiona's journey spans big city firms, smaller innovative practices, and in-house roles, giving her a unique perspective on the challenges and opportunities of legal tech. I know you've written an amazing book as well that a lot of people have probably read here. I heard great things about that too. And we're excited to have you on the panel, so please a round of applause for Fiona. Next up, I would like to invite Rowan up to help. Rowan is someone that we met just recently. Nice to meet you again, Rowan. Thanks for coming. They're also upstairs as one of our sponsors as well. And they have an amazing software. Is that what you call it, software?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call it software. And I know that Caroline and I were absolutely blown away when we saw it, so we asked them to come on board as part of this panel as well and speak into that a little bit. From Meritech, or Meri Technology, they also sponsored our lanyards as well, so check that out. And it's an AI, Daniel's an AI engineer, correct? And Today he's here to introducing groundbreaking new things that they're doing as well, and also unveil the future of fact management and why every law firm will soon rely on an FMS. All right. Next, I would like to invite up someone that you're probably quite familiar with now, Randy. It's not actually pronounced AI, is it?
No, it's not. It's pronounced I. I was the original before AI. I existed first.
I don't really care that's how you pronounce it. We're just going to call you Randy AI. It's way cooler. And that is what Carolee always calls you. She's like, his name's like Randy AI. It's amazing. So I think she just likes saying your name, to be honest. Great shoes, by the way. And who did Randy's mastermind? Yeah, we heard just amazing feedback, so thanks for speaking into that as well, Randy. Randy AI is the founder and principal lawyer of Randy AI Law Firm. Can't get away from it, I'm sorry. A premier labour and employment law firm in Toronto, Canada, so we appreciate you travelling all the way to be here. Recognised as one of Canada's top employment lawyers, he has built a reputation for efficiency and just an amazing firm in general. I know Carolee speaks very, very highly about what you've created, so we're excited to have you on the panel. A round of applause for Randy. And the last person needs no real introduction, if we can also give a massive round of applause for Carolee, who's going to be hosting the panel today. Thank you.
Yes, it is on. Welcome everybody. We thought that this year for the panel, we could not walk past having a tech panel, because who here is confused about tech in their firms and would love to know more about tech? Who here is scared of implementing way too much tech that you maybe don't need, like wondering what, now I've got, one of the things I keep hearing is, now I've got another, piece of tech. And who here is sort of, really intrigued as to what is happening in the AI space and how that can actually work in your firm. These are definitely some burning questions for me and with my firm, so it was perfect to do this session with you guys. And I think we've got a great mix up here, which is awesome. So let's start with current trends and innovations. I'd love to hear from each of you, because you all come from a different sort of perspective. We've got our law firm owner who's using heaps of tech and AI. We've got our consulting expert who isn't about one particular piece of tech, which is awesome. And then we've got a couple of tech partners who are doing incredible, kind of weird, strange things in the tech space for law firms, but really, really awesome things. So I'd love to hear from each of you. We'll start with Randy. What do you think the latest and emerging, or how is emerging technologies like AI and machine learning impacting legal practice right now and into the future?
Hey everyone, I just want to first start with an analogy, because I think it's very important for us to understand what's happening to the world right now with changes in AI and innovation. At some point, the calculator was invented. And in math class, there were, I'm sure, two groups of teachers. Teachers that forced students to do long division, and they said, your skills, they must remain relevant, you're not allowed to use the calculator. And I'm sure there are groups of teachers who said, it's just about the theory. As long as you know the theory, you're allowed to use the calculator. I think we're sort of at, if you understand the analogy, we're sort of at that crossroads right now with the tools. There are groups of people who are saying, in the legal profession, you shouldn't use it. It's not kosher, it's not proper. And I wonder if that's like those teachers who are telling those students that they should not use calculators. Because is that really to preserve the relevance of the students, or is that to preserve the relevance of the teachers? What's that play here? So that being said, it's really important, I think, for all of us to embrace artificial intelligence. It's very important, because if you don't embrace it, your competitors will embrace it, and they will outcompete you. Artificial intelligence is here to stay, and it's only going to get smarter. We're at the fetal stage of artificial intelligence right now. This is like the first days of the internet with Netscape Navigator and websites that took forever to load on your page like this. If you remember loading a picture, that was maybe 30 kilobytes, took half an hour and you couldn't even use your phone. Remember that noise? That's where we're at with AI. It's only going to get more powerful. So if I could give you an overarching message, which is use it, learn it. There are no experts in AI. We're all students. We're all learning this together because it's too new. So play with it. Be a child again. Play with the technology. Experiment with it. It's going to be really important for you in the survival of your business.
I just want to share a statistic I heard the other day from, I believe, a LexisNexis report. It was done in the UK, but I'm sure it's applicable here. And it's particularly, I think, important for law firm owners to be aware of this one. And that's that 36% of junior lawyers are considering leaving their roles because they're not getting access to new tools and AI tools. And it's not necessarily preventing to staying for the firm that they're at, but I think it's because of a genuine fear that perhaps they're not going to be empowered to use what they are going to be able to use in the future. And so I thought that was really interesting. It resonated for me because a few years ago I was a family lawyer and we were entirely using paper still. We were printing out emails, putting them in folders, still only in 2019 and 2020. And that really impacted me. As it turned out, I was really interested in technology, and so I went on a different path. But I think that will be true of a lot of young lawyers. One other trend I think is particularly prevalent in AI is this concept called demoware. And that's this idea that people will book you in for demos and they'll show you a really cool party trick, but then they'll force you to sign up to a multi-year license for every single person in your firm. I think in AI, you need to really have an opportunity to try things. Don't be pressured into committing to long-term contracts when you haven't really experimented with things yourself. I would really look out for that. It's like anything, there are opportunistic people out there. So those are two trends, I think.
Well, I think the trend I'm seeing coming out of litigation is AI has been around for a long while in e-discovery, and it took a long, long while to percolate through. I think what we're seeing here is just the same sort of thing is happening, but on a much bigger scale and a much faster pace. And so we've got people in different places using it in different ways. What we saw with e-discovery is that the job didn't get smaller, the job expanded, and instead of having to review thousands or hundreds of thousands of documents, millions of documents that you have to review. So I actually think that AI is going to make the amount of work that we can, and the time frames that we need to do working quicker. And there's a firm in Singapore that's announced that they want their firms to use AI because they want faster speed of response. I think the way that we communicate is going to be impacted by AI, and legal just won't be able to hold out. In some ways, legal has been a bit of an island from other technological advances, and I just don't think that that's going to happen this time. The other thing I'm really interested in is digital agents, and we're seeing a lot of isolated AI tools that are in silos. Digital agents offer the ability for you to take the process and all the steps and activities and process them through without having to instruct the AI. Now take this and put that there, now take this and refer to that and then do this. So I think that is going to be a real change where we're doing complicated knowledge work. So I'm intrigued by how that starts to enter the market.
AI is super exciting. It's kind of scary. I've got 2 points to make, or like trends that I'm seeing, and probably you're all seeing them as well. The first one is that software companies are just kind of putting AI on everything, and even if it's not AI, we're calling it AI. And so, trust your gut when you're looking at applications, when you're investigating tools that might be useful for your law firm. The use cases for artificial intelligence today, the places where it is most valuable are really like niche. And so something that is really useful for your friend and their law firm, might be completely useless for you. And so, AI is not useful just because it's AI. And so just like, trust your gut when you're looking at things. If you've spent careful effort and time investigating something, and you're like, I'm not sure about this, probably means it's not worth it for you. So I forgot my second point, so I might just leave it there.
Thank you. So can I have a show of hands of who is using AI in the room? And who isn't using AI? So that's really interesting. So everyone's starting to really embrace it in law firms in various different ways, whether that's a specific legal tech AI product or whether that's something more generic like ChatGPT where we're able to adjust it. Who has ChatGPT or anything like that they give to their lawyers? So it's interesting to me, I've thought about this in my own firm because I've thought, are my lawyers using it even if I haven't given it to them? And I've thought about that for some clients as well. So yeah, if they used to make a whole lot of mistakes with junior and now they're really good, maybe that's what's going on. So we're better off embracing it, right, and giving them the right products that we want them to use. So it is definitely transforming the legal industry, that is for sure. And I'd like to hear from each of you how you are seeing, and for you, Randy, specifically with your own firm, how you are seeing law firms actually utilising AI right now.
Well, I think one of the easiest ways to use AI, especially ChatGPT and large language models. So for example, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, G-R-O-K. There are a lot of these models out there where you can create large amounts of text. So one of the easiest ways for law firms, this is like a piece of practical advice for you, is to write blogs using AI because you can generate large amounts of content on different topics. You can put that onto your website, and that would help you with your SEO, your search engine optimization. If you concentrate on specific questions that your prospective clients are most likely to ask, you can become, according to the internet, knowledge experts in this area. Even when you may not actually be a knowledge expert, but you can present yourself to the wider public as the go-to lawyer in Perth for Wilson Estates, the go-to criminal lawyer in Sydney, the go-to family lawyer in Adelaide, in Melbourne, wherever you are. If you can saturate your local market with lots of relevant blogs, answering relevant questions from potential clients, you will be very, very powerful in terms of your online presence. And to generate these blogs, AI is a wonderful tool because you can generate about 95% of almost a perfect blog using AI. And then you may need a human there just to do a little bit of editing. A lot of these modules have this tendency to hallucinate, that's an industry term, where they make mistakes and they make things up. So you want to verify that your content of the blogs does not contain hallucinations. But beyond that, you can create hundreds of blogs in a week. And once you just add a little bit of human input, you can really turbocharge your marketing.
I think it's also really important to recognize what AI perhaps should not be doing, even though it possibly can do these things. At Mary, we sort of have this belief that there are some things that are meant for AI and computers, and there are some things that will remain for humans. And I think one of those is obviously client communication, but another is the strategy and strategic work, actually understanding the facts of your case, applying your knowledge of the law based on your experience, and sort of formulating a strategy. If you were to put a bunch of your documents into ChatGPT and ask it to do that, it will give you an answer. And it will look possibly pretty impressive, but you haven't done what you need to do as a lawyer, and you're probably not, and it almost certainly wouldn't be the course of action that perhaps you would have taken or the best lawyer would have taken. So having said that, what is a computer good at doing? Well, it's very good at organizing documents, summarizing them, putting them in order, knowing where documents start and begin. summarizing calls, meetings. There are all these, there's so much opportunity for these administrative tasks for AI to take. And so what that ultimately leads to is lawyers who get to spend more time communicating with their clients and more time actually formulating strategies, hopefully for more people as well. So that's something we like to think about.
So I'd add to that list, it's very good at understanding the operating metrics in your firm, so you can get some reporting and start to extract the information that can give you the ability to do data-driven decisions in a way that's much more accessible. And if a lot of lawyers don't like using Excel, I love Excel, but anyway. So if you're not really good with Excel, the AI can help you. It can help you come up with the formulas you need to be able to get the information and do the analysis you want. So I think that ability to not just extract data, but then be able to manipulate it and analyse it and present it in an organised fashion is something that AI is very good at. That can mean that when something comes through to you, whether it's hundreds of documents or a really long, complicated document, you can get a context before you go back and do your detailed review. You can also get it to help you teach things. So if you have junior lawyers and they don't know an area of law, they can talk to the AIs, particularly the legally trained AIs, and inform themselves without having to ask you 1,000 questions. And you may be pretty willing to answer 1,000 questions, but you're in back-to-back meetings. So I think there's actually a training opportunity there that we still have to work out how we can do that safely, but I think that's something that it's going to be good at. What it's not good at is proofreading, uploading documents in court format that are trustworthy and that you rely on. I think document automation is still playing a leading role there.
So probably the most common way I'm seeing our customers use AI, and at risk of talking my own shop here, is note-taking. Whether it's a phone call, a video call, or an in-person meeting, having AI transcribe and summarize that conversation that you had with a client, or that your staff have with clients that they work with. It's allowing our customers to train their team without having to join a call. They can look in the practice management system, read a quick summary of a meeting or a phone call, and go, hey, did they ask this question? Did they get this piece of information? How did they address the client? And that could be really valuable. Obviously, we know that data is super important for AI. AI is pretty much useless without data. And so, as a part of having those calls, meetings, transcribed, all our customers are starting to record more and more of their conversations. And it's absolutely the case that in like 5 years' time, probably any phone call, video call, or meeting for business purposes will be like recorded, because without it being recorded, you can't transcribe it, you can't summarize it, you can't then use it for other things. Today, the note-taking is it's kind of useful, as I mentioned, there's really great use cases for training and like quality assurance in your firm. If someone leaves, you can use those recordings, transcription summaries to show someone else, how do we do this process? How do we talk to clients? But it'll be much more valuable in the near future, in a year or two, when a product like VXT can understand the transcription, understand the conversation you had with a client, see a question and an answer, and then trigger additional tasks to be completed by artificial intelligence. So it might be drafting a follow-up email, which you can then approve to be sent to the client. That includes all of the things that we discussed. Obviously, that's one example of hundreds of things that will be built in the near future.
I'll leave the mic down there with you. I totally agree about the note-taking. In my mastermind groups, I don't know who is real and who is a note-taker. And my mastermind groups have doubled and if not tripled lately, so that's a good turnout for me. So if you were and you can speak speak, you, Meritech and VXT can speak to your own products if you want to. But the question is, if you aren't sure what the next best piece of tech is that you should be implementing in your firm, what do you believe law firm owners should be implementing and not passing up this year?
Honestly, no technique. It's really simple. You just turn it on and then it just does its thing. You don't have to worry about configuring some new tool. You click a few buttons typically and you've got an AI note taker joining your team's meetings. And even if it's not useful for you immediately, tomorrow you're not going to come back to the application and read the meeting that you just had. Like a year from now, when the client comes back to you with a dispute that could cost your firm $100,000, you're probably going to check out that recording and the notes. So, it's a small amount of work that could be really beneficial, if not today, in the near future. But just ask other people, ask the people who are sitting around you, what have they done? And then that's probably a pretty good answer as well.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say Mary Technology, but Mary Technology. Other than that, rather than a product, I think there's a new opportunity for law firm owners that perhaps wasn't as possible previously, and that's, I think, to be more engaged with the companies that you're working with. They are improving at such a rate that's not been seen before. There was a great stat that every 7 months, the length of the task that AI can complete is doubling. And so what that means as a law firm owner, if you're really engaged with the businesses that you're working with, your feedback is going to more quickly contribute to their roadmap. So I would really just encourage people, when you are being sold these products, ask about their roadmap, ask about the problems that you're seeing, and really push them to give you times as to when they're going to make the improvements that you want. And I think in this day and age, you will actually find you'll get a far better response than you previously ever possibly could have.
I think general drafting assistance, so if you haven't been playing around with ChatGPT, and I hate saying playing around because I feel like we should be past that, but and also understanding how you can improve the quality of the outputs by using custom instructions or by training GPTs so that they understand you and you get a more useful output. I think that just is a base level tool that everybody should be exploring now.
On that point, I'll just leave the mic with you, Fiona. On that point, there are lots of drafting AI tech for law firms coming out, but also your generic, ChatGPTs and all of the ones that Randy rattled off. For law firms, what are you, and also the AI bots that are inside practice management software as well. What are you seeing that are the better options for law firms that are on the market here in Australia?
So I think we have to get away from the idea that there's one AI. I think you have to be thinking about having a platform of AIs. So you may want a general one to deal with email and internal admin. You may want a legal specific one. If you do a lot of contracts, you'll want a contract review AI. If you do a lot of litigation, you will want a chronology. So I think we have to be thinking about picking specific tasks where there's a business objective where AI can help us in getting those. You also have to just be thinking about, I see a huge difference in the value of the output where you are paying for a legally trained AI for doing legal tasks. I find that in my testing, the quality is there. So if you're putting things into ChatGPT and saying, it comes out a bit American and I'm not sure that I would use this to create a contract, I think it's worth investigating the paid products because they have done a lot of that training so that you don't have to spend time becoming a prompt engineering expert in order to get a usable output. And you can, the point about the practice management software, if you already have all of your data inside a practice management software or inside a document management software, it probably makes sense to explore an AI that can work on that collection where you have your documents already because if you are then, you don't want to be having to be constantly moving your data and your documents into a different platform. It just makes it a bit more friction for your users, and that might slow down your adoption. But the only point I would say there is I wouldn't be choosing practice management software because of its AI capacity at the moment, because it's just changing so fast that something that is an AI option now, there might be a better one in 6 months, so you don't want to have signed up to a 3-year of a practice management software because of its current AI capability.
Well, I think everyone needs to understand ChatGPT. If you think of colors, you have your primary colors and your secondary colors and tertiary colors, your red, yellow, blue. ChatGPT is one of your primary colors. Like, you have to understand how to prompt and how to do multiple prompts and how to actually have a conversation with these programs to generate the best results. So now with ChatGPT, you can generate images. Images with logos that have clear language as well, without the spelling mistakes and the weird images that you would get even 6 months ago, that if I were to write Randy I Law Office, generate a logo for me, it wouldn't actually have the right words, or the words would be mixed up. Now it's much better. This new model is able to generate images using the ChatGPT affiliated product called Sora, S-O-R-O. You can generate videos. And within ChatGPT, if you have the subscription version, if you look at the panel on the side, you have other specialized GPT products that are created by third parties. There is employment law GPT, right? That has an employment law specialization. There's whatever you want that developers using the system and the infrastructure of OpenAI's ChatGPT have developed their own GPTs, and you can find a niche product for yourself that assists you with what you need. So everyone in this room, please familiarize yourself with ChatGPT, get to know it, make sure it's your best friend. And one other product I find really interesting, and this is not a shameless plug for this product, but I find it's really interesting, is Synthesia. It creates videos with essentially talking heads. So instead of you creating, say, a YouTube video of yourself or a promotional video, it makes it for you. So it can create the content, and it creates a talking head. You can choose the head, and you can choose the background. You can choose what the head looks like. And it has realistic lip movements, and eyebrow movements, and smiles. You can make it wink at you. So yeah, Synthesia for marketing purposes or internal training within your own team is a very powerful tool.
Awesome. So when it comes to, there's an abundance of legal tech products out there, and it can be really hard as a law firm owner to pick and choose what we actually need versus the cost of it, and then it starts getting out of hand in terms of you've got this and that, and you don't really know what your team's using or not using. I know we've tried to implement a whole bunch of different tech, for example, like WiseTime, but half of our lawyers don't want to use it and half do. So what do you suggest in terms of implementing tech and getting your team to use it, and how to make it work so that we're not actually just throwing lots of different tech into the firm and it costing lots of money, but you're actually creating a stack that works really well for your firm?
Well, I think it starts with a culture of innovation and learning within your firm. Because you're always going to have people who are resistant with respect to technology, and people who are resistant with respect to learning new things in general. And so if you run a firm where you instill a culture of learning and learning from each other, that's going to be really important. At my firm, we host many internal lunch and learns. So we choose a person every month who volunteers on a particular topic, whether that's artificial intelligence or examinations for discovery or mediations or trial, whatever it is. And that person who's an internal team member educates the rest of the team on that particular topic. I strongly recommend that. And if you have a culture of adoption of your own systems, whether that is a new trial practice or a new technology, just make sure that it trickles down from the top all the way to the bottom, and organically your team should absorb it. For those who are not absorbing it, as an employment lawyer, I would advise for you to consider discipline.
A couple of things. I totally agree with what Randy said about an internal champion. We find that with Mary, that's what happens often, is there'll be one person at the firm who particularly finds a lot of use for the product, uses it the most, and they sort of become an evangelist for it. The second thing sort of relates to what I said earlier about trying and experimenting with things. That internal champion will typically be someone who loves technology, or at least is open to trying new things. As a law firm owner, if you're going to be signing up to products across the whole firm, and perhaps if it's licenses and you need to, you want to be sure that there's actually the opportunity for a big ROI on that product. If you are sort of going, well, everyone needs to use this chatbot because, well, it's AI and we really want everyone to use it, perhaps you shouldn't be stressing so much about that, because if no one in your firm has found it, it's providing a big ROI or a big improvement in anything, well then it doesn't matter so much. But if that internal champion is finding that they're spending 80% less time on a really time-consuming task, and that actually has a really meaningful impact on your firm, well then work with that internal champion, like Randy said, run sessions, try and catch everyone up to speed on how they're able to accomplish something like that. But I just think, yeah, if there's not the ROI, then I don't think you need to worry so much.
One of the issues is when we evaluate software, we tend to just look at the license cost, and actually the cost is really much bigger than that, because that cost of adoption and monitoring and tinkering and it's a much bigger cost. So I think maybe from the habit session we have to be smaller in what we think that we can actually successfully roll out. Because I go into firms all the time who've got a perfectly good stack, and they tell me, oh, our software's terrible, it doesn't, and it's like, well, it does that in other firms. So something's gone wrong in the way this software, which is a market leader, was implemented, and the way you were trained, and you're not getting any value out of that perfectly good piece of software. So there's no point you ripping that out and putting in another piece of software, because that seems like you're doing something. You actually have to step back and go to the learning culture and get those internal champions and really just drive that adoption piece. And actually that's really the challenge for this next stage. These products are around, no matter how good they are, if you're not getting those really effective use cases, and people are anxious about AI, and there are people that are sort of just saying, I don't want to use it, or there's lots of reasons. Unfortunately, as a leader, your job is to spend time with those people. It's not something you can do with a firm-wide mandate, oh, we've got ChatGPT now, you're all going to use it. It's a much more nuanced process, because the individual motivations to use that will be different, the individual use cases will be different, and so you really do have to allow yourself that time, and potentially also think about how can I get some expert help to make these software be efficient in my system. I think sometimes we buy software and then just sort of say, oh, it should work. Where with a bit more attention, it could be giving you a lot more value. So I guess my tip is buy less and make sure you use it more.
Yeah, devil's advocate, kind of doubling down on some things you guys have been saying, is that, like, you know, sometimes I look at LinkedIn and like every post is like, here's my 20 AI workflows for 2025, and I'm like, okay, and like I'm like, wait a minute, am I like dumb because I'm not using AI enough? And I'm like, no, I'm not dumb. It's just like it's only really useful in today. It's only really useful in a kind of small number of use cases. Like AI generated chronologies, awesome, but I don't need chronologies. So you know, I would just you know encourage everyone to just like chill out a little bit, because you know people in the software industry are just going to be going like, can't, you know, you must use AI or your law firm's going to die, and use mine. But the reality is, like, if you're not using it, like, it might be that there's nothing out there that's really that valuable for you right now. So So yeah, I mean, there's so much that all of us could be doing better with the software that we use today, that we have today, that like isn't AI. You know, there's probably features in your practice management system that would like save you 10 hours a week. You know, that you just haven't discovered, that you haven't set up. So yeah. AI's cool, but like, you know.
So I'll leave the mic down there with you, Luke. We are quickly running out of time. So a very quick round robin of where do you see the future of legal tech and how's it going to impact law firms? What do our law firms look like in 10 years from now?
Great question. Famous saying, we overestimate what we can get done in 1 year and underestimate how much things will change in 10 years. And I think that kind of relates back to the last thing I said. AI is going to be so awesome and crazy, but like today, not super transformative. In 10 years' time, I think much more of what we would consider traditional legal work today will be done by software. That's not to say that like lawyers' jobs will be automated away. It's to say that like what a day-to-day looks like for any individual lawyer will look very different, and it'll probably be more client-focused. It'll probably be more kind of salesy. It'll kind of be probably look more like what partners do, to be fair. And all of these like siloed AI tools that don't talk to each other that much, and because they don't talk to each other, they're not integrated, they're not useful, will all be integrated. And so like, after you finish a phone call in VXT, VXT could automatically complete a task in your practice management system on your behalf. So as all of these tools become more and more integrated, there'll be more things that can be automated by them, and they'll be much more valuable. And yeah, 10 years, the legal industry will look completely different.
I think lawyers' time will be about 50% spent on billable work and 50% spent on selling, client relationships, doing other work than traditionally, because I think there'll be much higher degree of automation, and I think that the way that we can, if you think about the circle of the work that we can humans to do, the circles that AI can do, what's that circle that humans plus AI can do that we couldn't do before? I think that's an interesting circle that we'll be seeing us doing work that we never thought possible, that'll be much more multidisciplinary, and I hope much more preventative rather than reactive.
Yeah, we have a very optimistic view. I think there will be law firms in 10 years that probably don't do any administrative work whatsoever. So what will they do? It's already been said, but selling, client work, and the very important strategic legal work and decisions that need to be made. But what will impact will that have? I think that'll actually result in the cost of legal service for clients being much less, because so much of that work will be taken care of by inexpensive technology. However, according to a report last year by, I think it was Clio, 80% of legal problems aren't attended to by lawyers. So what that means is there's so much opportunity to serve more people for less. However, law firms will be more profitable because that's strategic, and that client work will still be incredibly valuable and important, and you'll get to do more of it. That's what we think.
I have a client who, after I give him a legal opinion, he says, I'm going to fact check your legal opinion using ChatGPT. The future is going to look like this. There's going to be a battle of credibility between us and the machines, us being the lawyers in this room. Because at the core, what are we selling? Right? At the core, the very core, we're selling credibility. We're selling legal advice, that we have the right opinion, the right advice for you, the right course of action. If the machines get better at doing that, will the clients trust us, or will they trust the machines? That's a philosophical question for us to figure out, but as they get smarter, we have to look at our very core to figure out what is our value added to our clients. And if we can't figure that out, we will become obsolete.
Thank you so much to the tech panel. I'll just leave it on that. We're going to be obsolete. I don't know so they don't complain as much as the staff I have here. So it would be great if we can reduce some of the workload and have robots do it. But we'll see. Randy will come back to you in 10 years' time and see if we're all obsolete or not. Thank you so much to everyone on the tech panel. It's been really awesome hearing your opinions. If anyone wants to talk to any of these four, they are around for the next day and a half and tonight. So yeah, some great conversations to be had there. I'm sure you've got a whole lot of burning questions. So a big round of applause to the panel. Next up, we are breaking off into our break-off room, so pick where you are going to be going. And also just a reminder that afternoon tea is being served only upstairs this afternoon. So if you're in these downstairs